Uh, Welcome everyone to tonight's Active Project Live discussion. Before we jump in, for those who haven't met me yet, my name's Diane and I help lead the Active Project Live discussions with the Kelly Brush Foundation. So glad you're all here. Each week, this space brings together people from across the adaptive sports community that whether that be athletes, program leaders, instructors, and people who are simply curious about trying something new. The goal is always the same, to learn from one another, highlight what's happening in our communities, and help more people access recreational independence. Tonight, we're focusing on adaptive Nordic skiing, a sport that offers freedom, endurance, connection to the outdoors, and truly year-round possibilities depending on where you live. Nordic skiing can be incredibly adaptable, whether someone is using a skidzy, skiing standing with equipment modification, skiing with a guide, or joining a community-based program for the very first time. If you're looking for a program, you can always hop on our Active Project. Our Active Project is our digital resource for all things adaptive sports and recreation. This is where you can discover other sports, find places to try them, connect with peers. We have informational videos on dozens of sports, hundreds of organizations and their events, forums, messaging, equipment classifieds, and much more. So please take advantage of all those resources by creating a profile and signing up. I'm going to post that in the chat so you guys can sign up. Also, we do record these discussions and upload to our Kelly Brush Foundation YouTube channel. So I'll also post that in the chat so you guys can catch previous discussions that we've had. We cover, like I said, a bunch of different sports, so you can check those out there. Um, Across the country, Nordic skiing looks a little different in every region. Some areas have long established programs with deep roots. Others are building momentum through new initiatives, youth programs, or emerging partnerships. And that's what makes tonight's conversation especially exciting. We have people here who represent that full spectrum and can speak to how Nordic skiing is growing, what's working, and what opportunities lie ahead. We're really fortunate to have several guests who bring us decades of experience, fresh perspectives, and leadership across the adaptive Nordic community. I'm going to introduce each of them and then we'll dive right into our discussion. So we're lucky to have like I said, several guests. First, I'll say and introduce Deb from Waypoint Adventure, who brings um, lead adaptive programs at Weston Ski Track in Massachusetts and helps or brings hands-on experience supporting participants of all ages and abilities. We also have Casey, founder and executive director of the Midwest Adaptive Nordic Foundation, whose work focuses on expanding access to adaptive Nordic skiing throughout the Midwest. She brings both leadership and a great pulse on developing programs in regions where access is still growing. We have Joe from Adaptive Sports New England, who has a long history with Nordic skiing as a Paralympic himself, a bronze medalist in the 30-kilometer race, a two-time Paralympian, and co-founder of the New England Nordic Ski Association. His background in coaching and program development has shaped Nordic skiing in the region for decades. We have Kim from Trails at the University of Utah, part of a program that supports recreation, wellness, and education for individuals with complex physical injuries or illnesses, including Nordic skiing opportunities out west. And then lastly, we have several adaptive athletes, including Josh, I see Ben, uh, uh, Brittany, we have Lori, and Dakota, I think, is on here as well. So thanks everyone for joining. It's awesome to have all of you. Um, I guess maybe to start, let's just quickly go around and introduce. I'll let you guys kind of introduce yourself, and maybe we can start with our athletes, and you can say how you first got involved in Nordic skiing and where you are now. Lori, I'll start with you.
Well, heck of a deal. This is exciting. Thanks for the invite, Diane. And I have a long background in Nordic skiing and coaching. I skied in college and then coached a junior Nordic program out of Boise, Idaho for 6 years. And yeah, have been involved. And then I helped found a kids program in Missoula, Montana, where I now live. And then 3 years ago, I got injured and am paraplegic. And so I'm now coordinating. We have a brand new adaptive sports program, Missoula Adaptive Recreation and Sports, acronym MARS. And I'm the Nordic Ski coordinator. So this will be the second winter. We bought several of Josh's sit skis, and we're going great guns. We're really having fun and learning a lot.
Thanks, Lori. Good to see you. Josh, I'll pass it off to you.
Hello, and just I'm just here to hang out. I'm not here as a representative of my business, so I'm not going to be, but I can help answer any equipment questions you might have. But yeah, so I'm Josh Sweeney. I am a two-time Paralympian, one time as a Nordic skier in China, Beijing, or sorry, China. Yeah, in 22, and then looking to go here again in 26. But I'm currently up in Canmore, Canada. We just finished up a cross country World Cup, and we will be starting a biathlon World Cup tomorrow that will go through the week. So that's where I am, but I do live in Boise, Idaho.
Thank you, and good luck training right now. Brittany, I'll pass it off to you.
Hey guys, my name is Brittany. I got involved with the Nordic training almost about 2 years ago now, a little over 2 years. I got to start with the dry land training before I ever touched snow, so that was kind of a unique start. But now I'm trying to train to make the team, or at least the development team, so that eventually I can hopefully compete in the Paralympics as well.
That's so exciting, and good luck to you too.
Thanks.
And maybe some of your athletes already even know each other, but I love these discussions because it's a great way to bring together everyone, and makes those connections. Um, let's see, what other Nordic skiers do we have? Dave or Ed, have you gotten a chance to Nordic ski yet?
Not yet. I am Nordic curious, if you
Lovely.
would.
Well,
I was before my injury. I'm just 3 years post-injury, and I haven't got back on the snow yet, which is a goal for this winter. And I was an avid skier prior to my injury, high school race coach, and recreational skier as often as I could manage. So looking to see if this is something I can uh, spin my wheels on. The program in Weston sounds pretty doable for me.
Absolutely. Yes, that's where I go.
Hi, I'm
Cool.
David Wieselman. I haven't tried it, but I'm a C7 incomplete quad. But I did a lot of it just naturally. If anyone ever skied the East Bowl at Burke Mountain,
Yeah.
basically for up to, mile and a
Mhm.
half, sometimes doing that. Or if you've ever skied Alta, you do a lot of it. But I found it really awesome just to be able to get out in the woods. I always ski with pretty long skis. I'm finally driving this year, so I'm really looking forward to trying it. I know Diane's been doing it for a couple of years now, and it looks like totally my style. So I'm excited to try it and glad to be at this meeting and find out more about it.
Thanks for coming. Um, let's see. Ben, are you there?
I'm here. Sorry, I'm at the gym.
Okay.
I'm at the gym too, so I don't have my
Oh,
phone with
good.
me. I've only done dryland cross country. I did it actually out in the trails folks, so I did it out there with them. So I've only done the dryland, but I've always wanted to do the actual real cross country skiing. But where I live, and like there's never ever enough snow cross country skiing. So um and uh but I'm hoping to like try it this winter, maybe come up to Vermont and do it and then talk to some folks. But just here to learn more about it and see the difference between dryland and the actual cross country skiing.
Yes. Well, we can answer all the questions that you guys may have. Oh, hey, Dakota. How are you? I think you're on mute. I met Dakota back in Ski Spec, which is a week-long ski camp event in Colorado. And we both tried Nordic skiing for the first time. Have you been out? And since then, that was almost 2 years ago.
No, not yet.
No, not this year at least. Okay. Um, Well, maybe you can get out, and I'm excited to have you in this discussion.
Thank you.
Um, uh, I'm gonna go and pass it off to Joe. I'd love to hear from you. How are you?
I'm
We
great.
have a lot of experience with you in Nordic skiing. Um, I'd love to hear from you, and maybe you can share a little bit about your experience.
Yeah. Well, as evidenced by the white hair, and Diane's long introduction of all of the things that I've done, I've been around for a little bit of a while, but really enjoyed Nordic skiing. I started off as a skier at Dartmouth College, and then my vision is quite poor. I'm legally blind, and so got directed into what was then the disabled ski team program at USSA, and had a variety of experiences. Was able to represent Team USA at 2 Paralympic Games. And that was pretty fantastic. Had that as a huge privilege. And I've had plenty of opportunity to do Nordic skiing and other activities as well in the Paralympic realm since then. Um, uh, Currently, I run Adaptive Sports New England out of Boston, so I know many of you who are in that area. Deb Laufer is our hero out there with the Weston Ski Track, making the snow, making magic happen, getting snow and making it possible for those of us who live in and around the Boston area to ski close to home, as well as to once we get a little bit further north, can pick up some more skiing opportunities up there in northern New England. But super work, and glad that to see such a mix of folks here. Josh, thanks a lot for checking in from Canmore, and nice skiing up there in the cross country. Good luck in the biathlon coming up, and in Milan and Cortina. So super work. So
Thanks.
I guess I'm here to help out however I can. I had lots of experiences. I was able to compete as Josh is doing now, internationally, and have some travel experience and compete against others around the world. I also worked hard at the local level. I was living in Hanover, New Hampshire, and coached the Ford Sayer youth ski program there. So I had some good local club experience outside of the adaptive world. And then working in the New England Nordic Ski Association community as well. Currently, we do a lot of different sports with Adaptive Sports New England, and I've sort of had the privilege of having good exposure to a lot of different Paralympic sports. We don't do a lot of Nordic skiing, much to my chagrin. I wish I could spend more time out on the snow. It just doesn't seem to happen year after year. But I'm really appreciative of Deb and the folks at Weston, and the rest of you who run programs and get people out for good cross country skiing experiences. So I'll turn it back over to you, Diane.
Yeah,
Happy
appreciate
to
that.
weigh in on anything if people have questions for me.
Yes, and throughout this conversation, if anyone has questions, feel free to pop them into the chat or just jump right in, raise your hand, and or ask your question. But Deb, hey, excited to have you here. And yes, you run programming out on Weston Ski Track, and that's where I do my Nordic skiing, and usually Deb steps me up in my sit ski. How are you? And thanks for joining. And how's the snow been so far this year?
We have a great early season, so about a 1 kilometer of machine-made snow, so it's enough to get out on. Yeah, really honored and excited and humbled to be in a room with so many cool people and talented athletes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really is. I guess to start as we get going too, I just want to ask, like, how do people typically get introduced to it, like Nordic skiing? Can some of our guests share a little bit about that, and maybe um, first timer skiers, like how does someone start?
I could start.
Yeah. Thanks, Lori.
Okay. So here's what I am finding in Missoula, year number 2. So last year, first year, running a program, and I had to talk, like, so I would love the scenario where someone thinks they're interested in Nordic skiing and approaches me, but that hasn't happened yet. So it's much more for me been like, uh, anybody I meet who has a disability, encouraging them to think about trying it and telling them what we can help with and how we could make it work and why they might like it. And then calling them up multiple times and, just badgering them, and then they come out and they're like, "Oh, I had no idea this would be so much fun." And so we're start going somewhere. But it's really been more about figuring out how to advertise, because people don't seem to think it's for them, and they don't know what it can look like, and they don't know why it can be fun. So we're having to do a lot of cheerleading and explaining, but then once we get them there, then it's very obvious to them, and so far everybody has really had a great time.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like that's so true. Oh, it's a lot of, I feel like sometimes that's a big challenge for adaptive sports. It's like you don't know how much fun it's going to be.
I, I think that's right. Lori, you gotta make sure you remember you're not doing anything wrong. That's the experience of just about every adaptive sports program out there. So keep up the good work and be persistent. That's right. So
And Casey from Midwest Adaptive Nordic Foundation. Hey, how are you? And how do you guys challenge or tackle that, bringing people out?
Well, thank you for sending me the email about joining tonight. So I'm actually from Michigan. So I actually did the developmental team for a little while. And then I stepped away from it for my own medical and then started the Midwest Adaptive Nordic Foundation. But locally, I started within actually a ski, just a high school ski program, started an adaptive program, and it's under age 8 right now. The first year we had one kid that wanted to do it, but now I believe this year we're up to 15 or 16 between elementary and middle school. And for us, it was word of mouth. Is all actually the kid that did it. He actually saw me out skiing when I was training, um, and then he didn't think it was ever going to be possible. And they actually one of the coaches that I knew locally, she kind of got contacted by the mom and was like, "Is there any way?" So then they contacted me, and then I reached out to Beth Ann and them about getting some sit skis and things, and then we got him going. And then for everyone else in the program, it was word of mouth from the kid. Like he loved it. And now they just built like a whole ski trail at his property, so they're skiing like with his family. We kind of started as like a family endeavor, like just getting kids out with their family. Because here it's pretty much November through April. It's the only thing we can do is ski. There's really no other options. So we run it every Sunday. So Sunday pretty much from January until the end of the season for about 2 hours. And then the families can come ski with their kids if they want to, or else we'll put them with a bunch of pretty much the middle school, high school, and elementary kid program. They'll actually ski with them and work with those coaches also. So I've been helping them start that and then training those coaches on how to work with the adaptive athletes and set up a sit ski. And just word of mouth from the kids. The kids have been pushing it through the schools in our area, and it kind of just exploded just from them talking about it with their peers.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I mean, how do youth programs differ from adult programs in terms of, I guess, approach, structure, support?
I think what we found it's a lot more games. The kids get bored, is what we're finding very quickly. Like you can't sit still. Like you have to do, and you can't just say, "Okay, we're going on the trail." Like we've had to play soccer with the sit skis, like bring balls out, bring cones out, do races, and we've found more fun in doing races with the kids to keep them involved. And then by the end of this season, then they want to go out. But like a lot of it, we've realized too, like, because we try to incorporate them with the able bodied kids. Well, we found out that they want to just be one on one with a coach. So we had to find ways to do games with able bodied kids their age that also are their classmates, but they didn't want to ski with them. So kind of transition that way. And then by the end of the season, they've been racing and doing races. Like we incorporated races at the events, like all of our ski races in the area. So then all the kids can go and like do a fun race before the end of the season. So
And Joe and Deb, you also, I feel like, frequently work with kids. Um, do you have the same experience? Lots of games and pulling that in.
Yeah, Deb does a lot of hands-on work. In general, you got to you got to meet the kids where they are, right? So
Mhm.
definitely the youngest of kids, yeah, really a lot of mix of games, as Casey was saying, is really important. Make everything a game. Chasing things and chasing people and having fun and making them laugh and not realizing that they're learning how to ski in the process. Um, as it goes with whether to do specialized sort of highly intensive one-on-one coaching and or a big integrated program with kids who are typically skiing on typical equipment, whether they have a disability or not. What we find is really that there's a if you have a mix of those two elements, those two approaches, that works the best, because the kids who are in sit skis or have other adaptive equipment, need other adaptations, they need the technical support that somebody who's an expert in that arena can help them with, and so that they can get all the little ideas that only an experienced racer or skier would be able to come up with. And yet the social element and sort of the fun and the being part of a group and being part of a team is really important as well. And so if there's a balance, but if you can strike a balance between those two, and you may not be able to get them done at the same time, but maybe the first half hour you work on technique, and then the next half hour or hour you spend in more integrated sessions. Sometimes that works really effectively with everybody, but with kids, especially as you get into sort of the middle and high school kids programs.
Thank you. Deb, you too?
Oh yeah, all about the games. I think fear is a really big barrier to learning. So for adults too. I love forcing people to just like stop overthinking and being stressed about what's happening and just focus on if it's a simple task or a really fun game, just like make it silly for kids and grown-ups.
Yeah. And for those, I guess, switching it over a little bit, for those with experience in elite or competitive skiing, what does that pathway look like for athletes interested in racing or competing? Um, Maybe that's a Josh
I can kind of help.
question,
Yeah, I can kind
Brittany.
of help with this
Yeah.
one. So, first thing you should do is contact Beth Ann Chamberlain, who is with the U.S. Nordic team. She is the development person. Like, I don't know what her actual title is, but basically, if you have any interest in racing, then she's the person to talk to. She also has a ton of connections. So if you're like, hey, I think I want to try this out and see how far I can take cross country skiing, if it's in more of a, outside of a recreational um, world, then she can help connect you with groups or maybe other athletes in your area, or other opportunities that you might have. Like, I know Brittany was just up here. I got to see her. She came up to race the local Continental Cup here in Canmore. So I know every year they'll bring athletes up to race. That's one of the first things I did as well. And then from there, you learn about kind of how it works, how the racing works, and essentially, you got to show up ready to go. All your training is outside of this, unless you're on the national team, and then they will take you and work with you throughout the season. But even me, like I just I should be good for a national team next year, but like this year I'm on the development team, and I haven't made it outside of the development team yet. So it's a process. Like, it's not something you can usually just jump right into and do really well. It takes time, and you have to respect the process of fitness, learning how to ski, controlling, then the travel, and then how to manage all of that so that you don't show up tired to a race. And so I guess talk to Beth Ann, tell her you're interested in racing. From there, it will slowly build into learning more and more about the sport and getting the coaching that you need. And they are really good about making sure that you have all the information you need and you're connected with the people that you should be, so that you can get all of your questions answered and going from there.
Thanks, Josh.
But realistically too, even if you just want to do it recreationally, or you just want to try it, or you want to find out, hey, like, I want to do some Nordic skiing and this is where I live, like, I would contact her anyway. And I'll put her email in the chat, so that I already actually told her I was going to come to this meeting, and I said, honestly, I'm probably just going to tell people to contact you if they have any questions about that. So she's cool with it. So I'll throw that in the chat.
Okay. I think I just put her email in the chat, if that's the correct one.
Yep, I see that. Yep,
Okay,
that's
cool.
it.
Um, Anything to add, Brittany?
Yeah, so mine was pretty similar. I'm pretty lucky to be in Utah and be connected with Trails Adaptive. Tanya, she's a Paralympian who did Nordic skiing and kind of a legend in the sport. So I had that connection kind of from the beginning. And then she got me connected with Beth Ann as well. So I started out doing, Beth Ann held a talent ID camp for kind of interested athletes. And so I got to travel to Minnesota and do some skiing for a weekend with that group. And that was my first time skiing on snow. And then between Tanya and Beth Ann, got connected with some citizen races here in Utah and got just talked with them to see if they could include an adaptive category in the citizen races, or at least allow me to compete in the regular categories. And so that's most of my, I guess, like race experience. I've also got like connected with Challenged Athletes Foundation and did the Boulder Mountain tour. And that was a really great experience. And then from there, just staying in contact with Beth Ann. There are occasionally some pre-development training camps. So I'm not on the development team or the national team yet, but depending on the year and how the funding is, there are sometimes a few spaces open for athletes that want to get into racing internationally. And so I've been to some training camps in Bend, Oregon, and in Montana, and even in Germany. So, yeah,
Wow, so great experiences with travel too and travel opportunities.
for sure.
Um, and I heard you mention trails. I also want to shout out Kim. Thanks, Kim, for joining on this call. Um,
Hi, Kim.
feel free to introduce yourself. I'll go on if you're able to. Okay.
There we go. I think I'm unmuted, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
Can hear you now.
Sorry, I'm in the car. Sorry. I trying to do
Oh,
multitasking.
okay, be safe.
I am parked, so don't worry.
Okay.
I had to drop kids off. So I am pretty new to trails, and I do have a background in Nordic skiing. And I think part of the reason I'm involved is I started volunteering with trails in the Nordic ski group, and then they had an open position. Um, and I love it, and it's fun to work with Tanya. And they're open to new ideas that I have. So, for example, this summer, I was able, I guess it's more fall, I was able to get Brittany and another athlete, Kevin. I think some of you know Kevin. I was able to get them entered into a roller ski race at Soldier Hollow, and that was a lot of fun. And so we're really pushing Soldier Hollow right now to include in any race they have an adaptive category because they need to be prepared for 2034. It's going to come fast, right? So they need to be ready to to receive those athletes. The other thing I was curious about, snow wise, I think, Deb, you said you had like 1K of snow. Is that right? That's really sad. That's about what we have too. And it makes me sad. uh, we're supposed to hit 60 degrees tomorrow, which is even more sad. So it's not good here. I'm curious. You mentioned games, and I know games that kids might like with sit skis. What kind of games do you guys play, or do you engage your athletes in, adults or kids, or what? How do you just a sit skier in a game? I'm just curious about that.
Good question. And Any
Is that for anyone?
yeah.
Anybody?
Okay, so some of the games that we've played is like got a big beach ball and you like ski around and you have to, it's almost like a keep away, so you can play keep away with a giant beach ball. It's a little easier to hold and handle, and then that helps. And you have to have a fairly open area to be able to do that, especially with sit skiers, right? And but I mean, kids don't care; they're going to smash into each other, and it's fun. But then the other type of games are like relays or like agility type course games. I mean, same type of stuff you would do with standing. Just might have to spread the cones out a little bit more or um, have a couple more teams or whatever. But um, those are the two first ones that come to mind when I think about games.
Any other people that often play games with little kids on the snow?
Yeah, I do a lot of obstacle courses. Sometimes it's often one-on-one just because of the timing and kind of space we have. So kind of zigzags with cones and stanchions. You have to go under and around things. I've done capture the flag, sharks and minnows, like anything that works on a playground is going to work on the snow. I know Casey mentioned ski soccer. I've definitely done that. Um, yeah.
Okay. Thank you guys. Kim, does that give you some ideas?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Hey Kim, another one that we did, so it kind of goes into the biathlon world, but we put up targets. So we have a couple of kids where we're at, and we use Nerf guns. So we did like a relay with Nerf guns where they had to shoot targets because they were kind of getting bored with the soccer. So then we set up like cones and it was like a relay, and you would go shoot like 3 shots out of your Nerf gun at a target, and then you have to like go back through these cones on the way back, and then
Oh,
kind
sweet.
of tag off. And then we did that for a while because after a while you can't, like, kids get bored with the same game if you do it like week on week.
Yeah.
So we kind of transitioned to that.
Oh, great. I love it.
Those are good ones. And we have a couple of hands. Ben, you had your hand up first.
So I had like a couple questions. So I've done the actual cross country ski, but I've only done the dry land. So I've only tried it in the dry land with the wheels under it and pushing it. What is, I guess my first question is, what is the difference? How I found that like it wasn't like it was challenging, but like not impossible. Is it much easier on the snow uh than versus dry land? Anybody has done the dry land?
Were
I
you
guess that
on a
might be.
rollerboard or did you have
Yeah,
roller skis?
I had the rollerboard underneath me.
It's very similar. It also depends on snow condition, obviously,
Okay.
but like last couple days the snow has been pretty hard packed and so it's fairly flat so you can turn and move pretty freely. And then last night it was kind of raining and sleety and like I don't know, we had some thicker heavier snow that came in, so today it was a lot harder because even with the grooming, like you really had to make sure that you were turning and almost aggressive in your turns to make sure that you were taking the
Okay.
lines that you wanted. But I would say in general, it is similar. The problem you'll run into is where you ski. So if you go somewhere like Soldier Hollow, which I love Soldier Hollow, it's a lot of climbing. There's not a whole lot of flat places to ski at Soldier Hollow. And there's kind of like this open area that's not too bad, but um if you go somewhere like Sun Valley, there are some flatter sections that you can ski that are a little easier. I've heard Valley of the Sun or that race up there in northern Washington is really good for sit skiing, like tons of flat terrain. So that's kind of where you'll run into how
Okay.
hard it actually becomes.
And I'm just curious for like the folks at trails, or maybe like up in like Vermont, Maine area, what is a good time to try it? So like obviously I know this depends on weather, and depending, but normally like is it best to wait till like January, February to come out and try it if I wanted to do it?
Best timing for best time of snow.
Yeah, and I know this is like weather depending. Like, I mean, it's 20 degrees here in DC, and then it's supposed to be 60 out in Utah. It's like cold here, so it's like,
Yeah.
For sit skiing on snow, the best time is when there's snow. Obviously,
yeah,
we'd all be out there now. Um, I mean, I would say you probably don't want to try it on a more icy day.
okay,
Fresh powder is always nice, and if it's a little bit deeper, that way, if you're going to try to make a turn, go down a hill, you've got some nice powder to fall into. Um, and then as far as mountain boarding, no, you said you already did mountain boarding, right?
I did that. Yeah, I
Oh,
did
okay.
that. I did that in Salt Lake with you all. So I forget.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and Brittany can probably tell her experience because she started mountain boarding and went to snow. I think most people, if you gave them a choice, they would pick the snow over the dry land training.
Yeah.
Snow is definitely more forgiving and fun.
I actually enjoy the dry land more than snow skiing. But yeah, I think the more I do it, the more I realize that I really like the dry land skiing, but I also just like suffering, I think. So, I honestly think that the two are pretty different. I think some of the differences, Josh talked a lot about like snow conditions, and that can have a really big, that's where you see a lot of difference between like the dryland skiing and snow skiing. But also, depending on what your level of injury is, can sometimes have a pretty big difference. So, fitness wise, dryland skiing is the same, like the poling motion is the same, but maneuvering gets significantly harder to control on the snow. You have a little bit more freedom of like sliding around and pivoting. And if the snow conditions are good that day, it can be really easy. Um, as like a T10 paraplegic, I don't have use of like my lower core, so I have a hard time getting the skis up onto one ski or trying to like turn really sharply.
Okay.
So on the dryland skis, obviously those don't have like a whole lot of maneuverability either, but I have more balance on the dryland ski just with like being able to lean. The board is way heavier, so it kind of balances it back out. Whereas if I try and lean in my ski, I'll probably just tip over and fall in the snow. So, and it depends on what your comfortability is with downhill and speed.
Okay.
If I could just do flat and uphill skiing every single day, I would love that a lot. I hate the downhill skiing. And especially in a Nordic ski, it gets really hard to make S turns. Again, sometimes that depends on like your level of injury or what your disability is as well. But when you're just carrying a lot of speed, it can get really hard to learn how to control that in a Nordic ski. And when you're in a dry land ski, you at least have a break. So
Yeah.
I wish I had a break on my Nordic ski.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna try it this winter. I think I either come out to Utah or Vermont to do it. So
Yeah, you should. I would definitely at least wait till January. December
okay.
is not looking great snow-wise.
Perfect.
So,
That was really helpful, Brittany, and I love that perspective. Thank you. Ed, you had a question.
I did. Thanks, Diane. My questions, I think, would be more specifically directed to Deb because the Weston Ski Track is probably where I would uh, try for the first time. So I would be a complete newbie. I was looking at um, maybe joining a Waypoint Adventure uh, program, and I'm wondering, is that the only way uh, to get on an adaptive ski at the ski track, or do you offer lessons and support for the newcomers?
Um, yeah, absolutely. Um,
The Waypoint Adventure programs are good. You can book them online now. But I'll make sure that you guys, all of you on the East Coast, have my contact info. I think Diane just texts me. We schedule from there. Um, so happy to make myself more available.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. What level of support does an individual need to bring with them?
Um, Not much. I think we can talk about a better assessment, but I think as long as we start off one-on-one,
Yeah.
if you like need a full transfer with another person to help, like that would be nice to know ahead of time. But I have folks that can help, and it's not a problem.
Yeah, they're really great there. I usually come by myself and they're able
Well, you do
to
everything by yourself, Diane. You're incredibly independent.
Well, I rely a lot on support from others, from strangers
Yeah.
sometimes. So it's incredibly
Uh,
helpful.
they're not strangers for long with you.
No. Lori, you have your hand up.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Deb.
I just wanted to say that I've discovered that another way to think about it, and this is kind of gamey in a certain way, but it also allows you to get a lot more places, is that I really like this as a team sport. Um, because if you do it by your, if you're wanting to race, then you're learning to do stuff by yourself. But you're really limited then in the kind of terrain that you can do. I mean, obviously you get better as you practice, but still. But like I'll go out with my husband. We went out a lot last winter, neither of us having any clue what we were doing. And but we just really developed ways that we could work together, which meant that him as a non-disabled person could also be getting a workout while I was getting a workout. Because if we're just trying to ski like side by side or together, it kind of sucks because I go so slow and and he's just kind of tooling around. But if we're working together where he's helping push me up hills with his pole or steer me down hills and we kind of develop communication and then it's kind of fun in a different kind of way and I can go a lot more places.
Yeah, I remember talking with you about that, Lori, this summer at Empower, and I love that idea of kind of like changing your mindset and really making it a team sport. And it reminded me of like when Deb and I go out, and I'm just like, I feel like we're a team together because she's got to help me up the hill, and like we're in it together, but it's really fun. We're both having a good time. And it's like it is she's helping me and like it's very much like a team. Um, and yes, I wanted to move on. Sorry, Dave, I saw your question in the chat. And maybe if we could talk about equipment. I think that's a great idea. You mentioned um, just what'd you say? How much sit ski weighs and how much straps, like abdominal support, and stuff like that. Um, do so I guess for the group, what different types of sit skis are available and um in terms of different levels of injury, what maybe some people might need, and how does it vary?
So Josh can probably talk to this a lot more because Josh actually like designs frames for the sit skis. But I've skied in quite a few different setups trying to figure out, what works best for my disability. Some of them have been incredibly heavy, which makes it that much harder to maneuver. The one I'm in right now, I think with skis on it, maybe weighs 10 pounds. Like it's pretty light now. Um, I've had a couple different strap setups as well. The first ski that I tried skiing on was pretty level. So we talk about like the positioning of skis in terms of like kind of how much dump it has, similar to a wheelchair. So you can have it like very dumped if you don't have a lot of core stability. And then you'll also maybe have a backrest if you don't have a lot of core stability. I skied with that for quite a while, and I had like a huge abdomen strap that I couldn't even like lean forward at all with. So there are pros and cons to having that, but it definitely helps a lot with your stability. And then I've also skied in something that's almost completely like parallel with the ground, so almost directly 90 degrees. And I had a really hard time with that one. I almost got stuck in it because I like fell backwards and didn't have enough core stability to hold myself up after. And then some of the pros, obviously, if they're like bilateral amputees or have use of all of their core and hip flexors, they're almost in more of a kneeling ski. So they can vary quite a bit in terms of like weight and materials. Generally, the lighter you can get it, the better. But obviously, if you need a backrest, that's going to add some weight. How much structure you need to it is going to add quite a bit of weight.
Thanks.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
curious, like how long are the skis and how wide is it? I'm 6 feet tall, well, 5'11 3/4, but I'm not 2 years old, so I just say six. But like, do you have have wider skis? I have really long legs compared to my torso. Like things like that kind of, add up. And I would definitely need a backrest. I mean, there's no doubt. I would fall backwards and or forward, and I'd be over. Because I'm really from the chest down, paralyzed. So is there a width? Wider
So
is
this
better, but it's probably slower.
there's a standard. So what the sit skis are all made based on the track width, that the width of the tracks when they're set in the snow, because that's really important to make sure your skis. So all the skis are 9 inches center to center on the sit ski frames. Um, you can't go wider unless you're willing to never use tracks. So that's fine. You don't have to use tracks. It's just sometimes you want to use tracks because it'll be easier, though, especially if you're using skate skis, because you'll stay in a lot better. So you could potentially do a hard downhill, like a harder downhill turn with tracks in a situation where maybe you couldn't out. So most of them are 9 inches, and then center to center. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen one that wasn't. And then from there, they try to make the frames as like basically as like a seat, right? As square as possible because it's structurally just way better. Um, then you have to look at the dump angle or the angle of the seat relative to the ground and how you sit. So similar to like a wheelchair, right? Like if you might sit with a little more dump. If you have less core, that way you're a little more stable. If you have more core, like I just sit flat, my seat's like flat or whatever. And on snow, that becomes even more apparent, like in a sit ski, right? So if you're sitting flat and you don't have as much core function, you might feel like you're going to fall over easier. So you'll sit lower, kind of compress, um, or at least relative to your knee height. It's very specific to you. And there's two adjustable frames. One is mine. I'm super busy. I like turned off my website because I'm trying to train for the Paralympics and make stuff at the same time. And it's basically not possible. Uh, and so I do plan on getting back into it after March. But for right now, I essentially turn that off. But there's my adjustable frame, which will help to kind of figure that out and dial that in. And I know there are a couple programs now in the country that have multiple ones. But then there's also the Raptor, which is made out of Sun Valley. Totally blanking on his name,
Mark
and that's an
Mast.
adjustable. Yeah, Mark Mast. Thank you. That's an adjustable frame that you could potentially use. I know those are like all over. So you could even like Breckenridge had one, and I didn't even realize it. They were like, "Yeah, we have one in the back." And when I went there for ski spec, and I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." And so if you were to contact a couple different ski what do you call them, lodge things, whatever, where you could like rent the ski wherever they're at, like they might actually have one, because what that program with Mark Mass, what he does is he gets grants to make them. He gets a grant to make and then he donates them to different organizations or places so that people could try it out. So if you are able to get into an adjustable frame, that's usually the best place to start, because then you can play with the angles, you can play with the height, and you can figure out what feels good, what doesn't feel good, without having to commit to anything. And then once you figured that out, then you can move on to a solid frame that can be made custom for you. Um, Again, I can't think of anything right now. So there's the guy out of Colorado uh, that makes the Paul with spokes in motion. There we go. He makes the fixed frames. He's designed them for decades now, and he's very good at what he does. So if you have an idea of what you think you might want based off an adjustable one, or even if you just say, "Hey, here's my height, here's like my injury," he might even be able to say, "Okay, well, this is what I think you might need based off of my past experience." Um, and then from there, but that's like you're kind of locked into a fixed frame at that point. So those are the options. But ideally, if you can get them 15 pounds or less, like that's where you want to be. Like you don't want to have them be any heavier than you have to make them. But yeah, straps, backrests, buckets, like a lot. Once you start Nordic skiing a lot, you'll realize like I need a custom bucket made to me, because all I do and most of the people do. I mean, I think Paul with Spokes in Motion started to have buckets made custom, but is we go to a prosthetist or I'm sorry, before that, we go to just like sled hockey buckets, because those are easily manufactured. They're made, they're easy to buy. They're easy to buy in different sizes. But if you start realizing like, oh, it doesn't hold me in that well, then you have to look at going to a prosthetist to have one made. So it can get kind of expensive, and it also just depends on how much you're willing to invest into the sport to do it, to be comfortable, to be able to maneuver how you want. So it really is extremely custom. It's probably like the most custom piece of equipment outside of like a racing wheelchair, but even those are pretty standard sizes. So you have to try some if you can. And I know there's programs all over the country that have multiple sit ski frames that are just sitting around. Maybe somebody got one, realized, oh, it's not going to work, ordered a new one, and it's just sitting there. So best thing to do is just call and start asking around and bugging people to find out if they have any old ones or any extra ones laying around.
Thank you so much. And you mentioned the Raptors, what I should be kind of looking for. That's a standard.
Yeah, and I don't know if just ask for an adjustable sit ski frame, because I don't, if you said Raptor, they might be like, no, we don't have that. But it's kind of like I think he just recently rebranded it as the Raptor within the last 4 or 5 years. So I don't know. But I would just ask for an adjustable sit ski frame if they have one. And then realistically, just jump in whatever they have and try it. And then the more you can, yeah, the more you can get in and get on snow and try, the better.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Dave, I just want to jump in and say we have one in Boston. Come visit.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
The only problem is you can't ski with Diane because you'll fight over it.
It's mine.
Yeah. I had a feeling. She had to lock down on that. All right, we'll work around their schedule.
We can coordinate for sure, Dave.
Thanks so much.
All right. We are just getting to about time, but does anyone have any last questions or comments?
I'm going to throw my name in the hat to compete with that adjustable
Deal.
sit ski in Weston.
I'll arm wrestle you.
You'll beat me. I'm still working on the upper body.
All right. Well, if anyone has advice on funding, then that's really my question now. How can I get more?
Get another
come
one.
out to Boston, please. I'm excited.
Great.
Yeah.
But sad, we can't all go together. So yeah, we need to get another one.
Just so I know, Diane, what day do you usually go then?
I actually gotta look at the schedule, but probably the weekends.
All right, we'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Joe.
Yeah, I just want to make one last comment that this is just a great opportunity here, and thanks Diane for organizing this, and thanks to the Kelly Brush Foundation for making it happen. I mean, just this last minute of communication, right? About hey, there are three of us here who are all trying to get to the same piece of equipment. Not just that we live near each other, but we might all be there on Saturday afternoon, and then can go get a hot chocolate afterwards or something. There's a great community that can build up around Nordic skiing. It's thought of sort of at the social world as being sort of an isolated sport, and people off doing their own thing. Somebody made a comment about if you're going to race, you do it on your own. Well, you can't do it on your own. You got to do it with other people. And it's so much more fun to do it with other people, and whether it's games or having groups or going for a group ski or just all meeting up at the same time and then doing your own workout and coming back together. It's a fantastic community, and just thanks Diane for pulling it all together, and thanks Deb for all the work you do at Weston. I know I keep singing Deb's praises, but it's really a great operation that they've got going there in Weston. So thanks
Very
for
well
inviting me
said.
to be here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thanks to everyone for coming and sharing your expertise, your questions, your knowledge. Really appreciate it. And yes, like Joe said, this is an amazing community, and go out and get skiing, have fun, enjoy. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Thanks
Diane.
Thank you
Thank
all.
all.
you.
Thanks,
Good
Diane.
luck, Josh.
Everybody.
Hey,
Thank you.
Go get
See you
it.
guys.
Oh
See
yeah,
ya.
good
Yeah.
luck,
Bye now.
Josh.
Appreciate it.
Go team.
Bye, guys. Thank you.